Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for another video in the Nordschleife challenge. Thank you very much for joining me in this particular video, and this is our fifth car after taking out the BMW M3 from the 1990s, the E30, should I say, was it 1989, 1990, which version was the Evo 3? I think that was 1990. After taking that car out and getting a fairly respectable lap time of 8 minutes 43, and that is of course on street tyres around the entire Nordschleife, including the back straight, not the tourist track, we are going to be bringing it forward in time. Keeping it in Germany, however, and we're looking at this today. This is the Audi S1 Quattro. Now, the Audi S1 Quattro, the A1 series, is the smallest of the Audi series. I suppose they're super minis, as it were. Smaller than the A3. Smaller than... Is it smaller than the A2? I really do not know, but let us not talk about the A2s ever. That was an interesting time in Audi's history. The S1, of course, is the top of the range model, Quattro, so it's going to be four-wheel drive. We're looking at 228 brake horsepower to play with today, and a top speed of 155 miles per hour. This should be rather interesting. Should be good off the line. We're looking at 0 to 60s of about 5.8 seconds. So we've got good off the line, we've got four-wheel drive, we've got a good top speed, a decent amount of power. 228 horsepower is nothing to sniff at, particularly in a car that only weighs 1.3 tons. This is going to be interesting. I am expecting, now I've driven this car once or twice before, and I am expecting to see some amount of understeer. So that is what I'm going to be looking out for. The very familiar categoric Audi understeer that plagues all of their cars except the R8 and the TTRS, or the TTs, I suppose. Every other one, in fact no, the TT also does suffer from it. It's only the R8 that doesn't suffer from this very specific Audi understeer, so I'm expecting that also in this car. In terms of lap times, we are probably looking at around... Given that the BMW did about an 8 minutes 43, this has slightly less horsepower, but it is more modern and it has four-wheel drive. I'm probably looking at around the same sort of lap time, maybe in the 8 minute 30s. It will be interesting to see how this compares to an M3 of yesteryear. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and of course if you want to see my practice laps, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description box, and if you do enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. All of that is free. It really does help me out. But anyway, without further ado, I better begin my practice, and I will see you in a few seconds for the actual laps. Okay, I've done my 2 practice laps. Interesting, very interesting what I've learnt about this car, and also one thing that is going to be interesting is the lap time that I think that I'm capable of getting on this car. So I think I said it's going to be close to the BMW. I think it will be fairly close. I think it's going to be closer than fairly close. I think there's only going to be a few seconds in it. However, I'd like you right now, those of you who are watching, put a comment in the comments box below letting me know what lap time you think this car is going to get. One of the things that I've done is I've restarted the session so that you have no idea what the lap times were and try and work it out from there. That gives you more of a guess. See what you think about this car whilst I'm driving it, and then see if you are correct. I have to admit that this car takes a little bit more pushing than the BMW, and I think that's because of the four-wheel drive nature of the car. It just needs to be pushed a bit more it's not quite as... I say it's not quite as natural to drive. There is a little bit more sawing at the wheel, or stress is stalling at the wheel. There's a little bit more waiting for the car, so you sort of turn in, then you have to turn a little bit more. The car does take a little bit of a while. There's a bit of sluggishness, not a lot, just a very tiny bit. It's still a very, very good car. No doubt about that. From what I've driven here, it's still a very good car. What my concern is that, in fact, you've probably noticed there, the car is rather squirrely under braking. In fact, the car is very squirrely under braking. So that is something I've got to get used to. Just make sure that I do not lose the car on the brakes, especially in places, for example, up the hill, where the cars always tend to go light, but also just any heavy braking zone, or even moderately heavy braking zone, there is a chance of losing the car. The other thing is the categoric Audi understeer is present on this car, just not in the way that I thought it would be. I thought there would be a lot more of that modern Audi understeer, but there isn't. There's some, but there isn't a lot, so I'm quite surprised about that. In fact, there is, as you can see, sometimes just a bit more oversteer than you would expect as well. Which is interesting to say the least. But you can just round many corners, you can feel just the slight beginnings of the understeer, if not some full-on understeer. The other thing is that I think the tyres are. I know tyres are a topic that have come up a lot, or has come up a lot in the past videos for this challenge, and I think they are really important. Of course, they are what connects you to the road. So it is very important to talk about the tyres, and the tyres in this car are slightly too thin, I think. They're 215s, 40 R17s, so 17-inch alloys, which is nice. I think that's the right size, but the tyres 215s maybe just slightly too thin for the power of this car. 228 brake horsepower, 215s, maybe slightly less. That being said, it does make it a little bit more enjoyable to drive the car. It's just when you push the car, you do start feeling that limit, and because it's a front-wheel drive vehicle, sorry, not front-wheel drive, because it's a front-engine vehicle, because it's a four-wheel drive vehicle, all of that culminates to this understeer that you feel when you're going around some corners, and then the squirreliness under braking as the car pitches forward, and there's just not enough traction on the rear wheels, and the front wheels are then struggling to bite, and it's all just sort of builds up to that. But it is not bad. That's one of the things that I must stress, that it's not to the point where you look at it and you go, oh, that's just undrivable. It's more like, oh, you look at it and you think, oh, that could have just been just a slight bit better. Why did they not put slightly thicker tyres on the car? And of course, there are reasons. There's some of that understeer. There are, of course, reasonings for why they did not put certain size tyres on, for fuel economy and for acceleration and for top speed and for the grip levels. You don't want too much because you're going to end up messing up the fuel economy, and your acceleration is going to suffer a little bit in a certain sense, because there's more grip than is required. So there is a balancing act, and I think Audi have been trying to, or certainly were trying to do, the balancing act on this. What I like about this car very much is it is still a very driver-oriented car, driver-focused. Some cars tend not to be driver-focused, and I've seen Audis that are no longer as driver-focused as perhaps they say they are, or they claim to be. This one is still pretty much a driver-focused car. It's nice to drive, it's easy to drive, and it feels fairly natural as well. Perhaps not as, it's maybe not quite as poised as the BMW. In fact, no, it's not maybe about it. It's definitely not quite as poised as the BMW, and it certainly has more understeer than the BMW, but it's definitely still a good car. That is, I'm not sure I can stress that any more than I just did. It is a good car. It's braking here before the bump, so that I've got enough braking capability. I'm not having to brake too hard. Fighting some understeer there once again, but nothing catastrophic. So for example here, see, if it was catastrophic understeer, I would have struggled there to get it around that corner. But I'm doing fine. I am doing fine. Breaking into this, I'm still not 100% sure as to the capabilities of this car, and just like the BMW, I am slower through this than I would like to be. But given that I was slow with both cars through that, then I think it's going to be fairly even. Coming onto the back straight here. Let's see what kind of speed we're looking at. We're probably looking at about 130. It says 155 miles per hour top speed. Probably going to reach about 100 and, let's see, 135, 138, possibly. Or possibly 138. Okay. I was not looking at the speed on the practice runs down the straight. I think I may have just taken a look at one point. I never saw how fast we get. 137, there's 137. Can we reach 140 then? 138, 139, 140. There is 140 there. But we have to be careful here. I've learnt that we really have to be careful because the car is squirrely. You actually have to brake earlier than you think. Because otherwise the car tends to, as we come down the hill, that coupled with the pitching forward of the weight ends up giving the car an absolute it's just a disaster. You can end up spinning the car quite badly. Okay, so we're looking at 8:46, it looks like, is our time that we're looking at. So 8:43 to beat, 8:46 is what it's estimating. Let's see if I can make that go down any more. At the moment it's going up. That was poor. Come on. One thing I am going to admit is that I am pushing this car more than I was pushing the BMW. So the BMW felt like it had more time in it. This car does not. This car feels like it is at its limit. At least on the street tyres, that is. With ABS off and traction control off. If we put this on semi-slicks again, you're taking 30 seconds off the lap time. Easy. But hey, you wanted an S1? S1 was requested. Here is the S1, and it is a nice car. Again, it's a shame. I tend not to drive these cars so much in Assetto Corsa. The BMW, the S1. I tend not to drive much in Assetto Corsa anyway now. It's just a lot of things that I have to do that keep me very busy. But I should probably look at driving these cars more than I do. The colour I've chosen for this, I think, is Sepang blue with the black top, which is nice. Holding fifth there was interesting. Ooh, okay. Go on, that's it. That is what I meant about squirrely. That was very difficult to do right there. That was actually very difficult to do. 45. 45 and the time is going down. Okay, so we've made another second up there, or thereabouts. Let's see if we can make a second up here. Come on. Remember the whole concept of slow in, fast out. There we go. And really not mess up this set of corners. Very easy to mess up that corner. And very easy to mess up this next section too. So if we aim for the inside, just don't touch that. Then on the brakes, we do not want the car oversteering, which it does have a tendency to do around these corners. A lot of cars have a tendency to do that. Then onto the brakes, third gear, off again, back on, into second, turn it in, touch that inside, flat, and we're out. That's nice. Could have been a little bit faster, but that was fairly nice, I think. We're in the 44s. I've just noticed we're in the 44s now. So we have opportunity here. We really do have opportunity here to beat the M3 E30. The question is, does this car have it in it? I think it does. Do I have it in me to do that? That's a whole another question, isn't it? Third gear, come on, in, nice, and then throttle out. Oh, that's not as fast as I wanted. We're back in the 45s. I've got to find some time somewhere. Where am I going to find time? Down the back straight, I've definitely got a little bit of time in hand there. If I just need to be a little bit more gutsy coming down the hill before I hit the brakes and make sure I can hold the car together. I've got a little bit of time, I think. In this section coming up, there is certainly a little bit of time. Carry a couple of miles per hour more around this corner might be handy. Oh, not ideal. Not ideal. That was too fast. See, now I'm just trying to push it and it's not happening. Oh, car's struggling now. So I need to figure it out. Try to handle some of that understeer. There we go. Manage the understeer a little bit, bringing it down once again. .45 miles per hour. Can we do any more? Out of that at over 50, but still not fast enough. Still not fast enough. We're 2 seconds off the BMW. Just 2 seconds. Come on. There's just, I don't think that, I'm not sure if it's in this car, at least with the practice that I've had. I'm not sure if this car's got it in it to be able to beat the BMW. Well, that was good. We're really pushing now. I am really trying to push this car as far as it will go. Go on, faster around. That was much faster around that corner. And around this corner. That was good. That was good. I still think I've probably left, in fact I know I've left certain amounts on the table, but there's a choice to make between that and losing the car, and you really do not want to end up losing the car. Just gone up to 5th faster than I have before. That has really helped. How about this corner? Control it a little bit. There we go. That's much better controlled. flat. No. Lost time there, but still okay. That was much better out of that corner. Look at the amount of time we're saving there. Back into the 44s. Now I am literally chasing the lap time of the BMW. This is no longer how fast can the Audi go. This is more, watch that understeer. This is more how fast can the how quickly can the Audi catch the BMW, or can it catch that BMW? 8:43, 4:38 to beat. Probably the fastest shift I've done from 5th to 6th in my life. Probably I could do that in my car. I need to put a short shifter in to be able to do that. Actually, I wouldn't be able to do that anyway. I forgot to wait for the revs to drop off. Actually, think about it, 56, should be okay. Come on, 8:44. Oh dear, this is the risk. .44.3. What was that? 8:44.63. Should we try one more lap? I think we did 3 with the BMW, didn't we? Let's try 3 with this. There's got to be... There has to be a second in it somewhere, surely. There's 0.1 of a second, 0.2 of a second. The problem is that being faster through certain sections may lead us to being slower through others, of course. You know, tyres being too warm, or just bad lines going in and out because we're trying to be faster in some places and not in others, so there are things like that to consider. We're bringing it down into the 43s. We are bringing it down into the 43s. No, don't you dare understeer. Oh, I had to get out of the throttle slightly there. Okay, we're still in the 44s, that's okay. 1 second is what we need to find. Around a track like this, 1 second should not be the hardest thing to find, but sometimes it can be the most difficult thing to find ever. He says as he's found almost a second. I feel like I'm being unfair to the BMW because I am now very much chasing a time. And when you chase a time, you do tend to find time when you chase time. Although I lost some time there because that was bad up the top. Come on, here we go. 0.6 of a second. Should really keep an eye on the road though as well. The last thing you want is to mess that up. That's the second. On the grass there. Watch the understeer. Oh, that's cost me some time. But again, I think this is it. This is going to be the last lap. Regardless of what time I get on it, this is what I'm going to put up because I think it's only fair. And the BMW, as I said, I know I could get more with the BMW had I put that time in. Almost identical on the lap times through that section. Always be careful through this. It's very easy to get this section wrong. should not have switched up to fourth there. That cost me a little bit, but I've gained coming off the top of the hill, off the brow of the hill. I've definitely gained. Ah, yes, did lose some through here. Let's gain some of that back now. 43.6. It's a 43.4 that we're after. Oops, slight touch on the grass, trying to widen out the track as much as possible to just even get that extra half a mile per hour. It's 43.6 is what it's saying right now. 43.5. Do not bin it here. That's good. That was good. It's going into the 43.4s. How close is this going to be? 43.3. It all comes down to corners like this. 43.1. It's in the 42s. Oh, no, it's not. Not yet. Not yet. It's in the 43.2s though. So it is ahead of the BMW at this stage, but I will say the BMW handles this section of track better than the Audi. This entire section it handles better than the Audi, so it's very difficult to be consistent with the Audi every lap the way I have been trying to be. It's still in the 43.1s now, which is impressive. Onto that side. Watch that. Accelerate a little bit through there. A flat through there. Go, go, go. Still 43.1. Still a 43.1. Oh, we're sliding. Not going to let that. Slightly too fast through there. As I said, the Audis does like to slide out. That's brought it up to a 43.6. That's unfortunate. But it is close. It is really, really close. That one mistake could have cost it that position, but then so did the mistake I made in the BMW cost it its position. So, oh, I say its position, it cost it from going into the 42s and certainly into the 41. So being this close overall is rather good. It just shows that these cars are very, very capable. Oh, we've got... That has been a much better corner. He's off, back on. Good. 43.5. Again, I'm not confident with this corner at all. Let's try and do this corner a little bit better though, because last time we bounced it, didn't we? There we go. That is much better. Oh, that was poor through the mini carousel though. Losing it, it's going to go into the 44s. Come on, can I? That was a much better shift into fifth. Very slowly bringing it down. Into sixth. Still bringing it down. 43.7. This determines second place currently or third place. Okay, be careful through this. That's it, hold it together. That's held that together lots better. What was that? 43.41. I think that might have just taken second place off the BMW right round that last corner. So there we go. That is the Audi S1. That also shows what 30 years? It's been 20, well, when did this come out? 2014. 25 years. Let's say this is what 25 years of technology does. So coming up on your screen right now will be confirmation of the time, and you can see that the Audi is ahead literally by 2/100ths of a second. That is pretty impressive. Less than half a tenth. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. This Audi is an interesting car. I'm still not sure which one's better though, this Audi or the M3. I think I might just give it to the M3. It's just a little bit more poised. As I said, I know I could get more lap time out of the M3. I think I can get an extra second or two out of this Audi. I'm fairly sure I can get 10 seconds out of the M3. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on the Nordschleife challenge in Assetto Corsa. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, and please do consider supporting me on Patreon if you can do so at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support will be massively appreciated, and those who select the right tier will be able to see, come on, there we go, will be able to see the practice laps for this car, in which I was just trying to get to grips with it as quickly as I possibly could. You can also find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me. I am using Instagram more, by the way, so do check that out. That is all from me, and I will see you next time in Assetto Corsa for another video on the Nordschleife challenge. I think I saw somebody request a Porsche, or a couple of requests for Porsche. I'll just go across the grass here, you know what? I think there were a couple of requests for 2 different Porsches, so I'll have a look, and maybe next week we'll have a Porsche, or if you have something else in mind, leave it in the comments box and I'll read them and then decide from there. I'll see you next week.